I just want everyone to remember when they're watching this show. So Chicago was 2 days. I was in Chicago for 2 days, okay? And they made 3 episodes out of it because that's how much shit happened in 2 days. So I just want everyone to remember the 2 podcast shows happened back to back, okay? And then that night they had us go to a bar. None of that made it on the show. And then the next day, which is where they pick up, well, the next day was the IVs, which you saw in last week's episode. And then this episode picks up with Beegs and I going to my Uncommon James store in Chicago. And it seems like it's a whole new day and and it's a whole new episode. It's been a week since you guys have seen the last episode. This was right after IVs. I just want to just put that in everyone's back pocket so that you know mentally with where I'm at today, because I was exhausted. I haven't slept the 2 nights prior. Obviously, the night before was an emotional beating back to back, mostly with Johnny. And, this morning I was crying at IVs, actually in this sweatsuit. And now, okay, it's like change, go to the Uncommon James store, like nothing has happened. And so Beeks and I we go to the store, and they have me on the show saying that I want to clear up that Uncommon James was solely funded by me and that I haven't gotten a penny from my ex. Those interview days are 8 hours long. I'm sitting in a chair like this for the entire day with someone peppering me with questions. And then what they do obviously in the edit is they'll like piece them together. And I do say at one point in this episode, I'm just so sick of talking about my marriage, because I did say that in the interview chair because they were asking me questions about my marriage and my ex-husband and everything. And I'm like, I just don't want to talk about it anymore, because I think one of the biggest misconceptions about me, or maybe it's not even a misconception, maybe it's just like some of the online bullshit, but you guys have to understand, every single interview I do, I get asked about my ex-husband. Every single interview, even if we say, because we do say, before you do an interview, sometimes my publicist will say, hey, the only thing that's off limits is X, Y, and Z. The only thing we, for the most part, will ever say and have said for 5 years, you guys, is I'm not talking about my ex-husband. We say it all the time. But a lot of times people will still ask me. And it's like one of those situations where I feel like I can't fucking win, because I try so hard to never talk about him. That is a deal breaker for me. And if I say one tiny little thing, then everyone goes, she never shuts the fuck up about her ex-husband. Oh, she's still talking about it. It's like, and I see that actually with a lot of other celebrities too. I saw, because sometimes I'm curious, like it's TikTok mostly. If I see an interview with a celebrity, I will sometimes go into the comments to see if it's a similar message, I guess, of what people say. So I saw one with Miley Cyrus. I guess she had commented on her ex-marriage, and it was similar. Everyone going, she doesn't shut up about him. Like, it's the same shit that people say about me. So it actually kind of made me feel better. But you guys have to understand, and I don't think it's actually anyone listening to this podcast. I can almost guarantee it. I'm sure there's a couple people that hate listen, but it's mostly these like online people who see a clip here, a clip there, read one little interview, quote or whatever it is. But people get asked the same questions over and over and over and over. And I've been divorced for over 5 years and people still ask me about it. And it's like, I can't win, but it is also part of my story. So if periodically I do say one little thing, well, because it's part of my journey. I mean, I don't know. That's just one of those situations that is frustrating. But anyways, all that to say is, in the interview chair, I did say, I am so sick of talking about my marriage, because it's like, I don't actually want to talk about my marriage on my new show. Like, let's all move on. But why it's important for me to say I've never gotten a penny from my ex-husband is because I am really proud of everything I have built in my life and everything I am currently doing with my own money. I don't get a penny from my ex-husband. I never have through my divorce. And I think that is important. It's important for me to clear up, because that's why I work so hard, is because I'm supporting 3 children. I have my kids most of the time. And there's another part in this episode where it's at dinner actually, where the edit is a little wonky, because I say, I got my kids full time, and then it's like, so I only have every other weekend. So let me just clear this up. I did have my kids full time for a while, and now I have them except for every other weekend. I'm not going to get into the reasoning, the legality around it, but I thought that was like a weird, I just don't think it just wasn't explained very well on the show. But I'm proud of the fact that Uncommon James has been solely funded by me. Not only did I not take any money from my ex-husband, I haven't taken a penny from anyone else. I'm 100% owner. And I don't know, that is important to me because people love to discredit that Uncommon James or anything in my life is only successful because of my ex-husband, because my ex-husband had money. And everyone thinks that my ex-husband like gave me money. I didn't get any money. I haven't gotten any money. I didn't get any money in the divorce. I don't get anything for child support, or never. That was never even on the table. To be quite honest with you, I've never even wanted it. So that's why it was important to me to clear that up on the show. Okay, so then we go into this dinner scene, and it's Justin and I, my best friend Biggs, who she was on Very Cavallari. She came on the podcast before, and then my friend Shar from LA. So it's the four of us. These are three of my very best friends who I've been friends with for 20 years, all three of them. And, I talk about, I'm talking about how dating is kind of tough for me and how my life is planned out 2 months in advance, because for a while there it was. Currently, it's actually not. This is the first time in a long time that my schedule has been kind of clear. It's kind of set through July, but after that, I'm really not planning anything. But when I filmed this in March, my schedule for the next 2 months was completely planned out. And it's because since I only have every other weekend, because when I have my kids, I do not go out of town. I do not I'm home with my kids. And so I'm saying how really I only have every other weekend to date, which is kind of true. Like if someone was in Nashville, of course I could go to dinner, but I typically don't date people in Nashville, which is kind of hard. And I don't love getting a babysitter, to be honest with you, to go to dinner. And it really, maybe it's more of a selfish thing than anything, but I would rather just be home with my kids, but I'd rather also just be in bed still by like 9:30 and just be in the routine. Like I'm such a homebody. I love being in the routine. And so I don't know, maybe I use it as an excuse, but it is what it is. And I was saying the reason why my schedule is planned out 2 months in advance is because when I don't have my kids, that's when I will go to LA for an Uncommon James photo shoot, or I went to Stagecoach, or I got my boobs redone. Like I always have things going on when I don't have my kids. So that's really where I was coming from about that.